Hello and welcome to today's video where I'll talk about threads in Android Studio. This is the fourth video out of 4, so the final one, and is going to present some alternatives to AsyncTask. And as always, we try to do it the easy way. And for you to better understand this video, I would recommend watching the previous 3 videos. In the first one, we talked about blocking the user interface, and we've done this by running a task in the main user interface. And this caused the application to freeze or to stop. In the second video, we moved the task in a background thread that was implemented with Runnable. In this way, the user interface was still responsive, so the application did not crash. However, the task was still performed, but this time in the background. In the third video, we added some functionalities to the previously built app, so we were able to update the user interface from the background thread, just so the user can see the progress of the work being done in the background. And in the last video, in this one, we'll talk about AsyncTask, which is deprecated. But actually, more importantly, we will present an alternative, because there's no point in you learning or wasting time to understand AsyncTask if this is deprecated, and you should always or already look to alternatives. Okay, so this is the application that we've built before. I will just switch to Android Studio and I will show you the app and what modifications we will do in today's example. We will start from the same simple application, and as you can see here, we have 3 buttons: click to test user interface, start and stop thread, and 1 text view to show the status of the thread, of the worker thread. Make sure you have the ID for this text view because you will need it in a moment. If you go to the main activity, this is the main code. You have the classes imported, then you have some variables. I will not go into details because I kept the same variables from the previous videos. You have the onCreate method with nothing much happening. You have the test user interface button, and this is the code that executes when you press test UI, just a variable that is incremented and then is displayed on the text of the button with set text, with this button being a view, just like a text view. So this is why we can use the set text method. Then for the start and stop thread button, we have nothing at this time except for a variable. This is a Boolean variable that will change its value. So if you want to stop the thread, this will be true, like yes, stop the thread. If you want to start the thread, this variable will be false. Obviously, stop the thread, no, this is false, we don't want. We want to start the thread. So this is the variable being explained. Okay, so let's see right now how we do as an alternative, because we used to have AsyncTask to do asynchronous tasks. However, since API level 30, this is deprecated. So as alternative and also as a simpler way, when compared to the previous videos, this is what I will do now. I will start with the text view, and for this, I'm just going to say private text view. This is the Android widget, and we'll give it the name text view status. Inside here, the onCreate, we'll just say text view status equals find view by ID, resource ID, and just select it from this list, text view status. And this is what we will change from inside the background thread. The text of this text view status will be modified to show what the thread is actually doing in the background. For this, we move in the start thread method. So this will be executed when we press the start thread button, and we will start by declaring an executor service. Let's say here, executor service. This is from Java concurrent. We call it just simple service. And from executors, we'll just select a new, and we can choose a fixed thread pool. If we do this and we give it a number, let's say 5, as you can see, we will have 5 threads, a pool with 5 threads we can run asynchronously. And obviously, we don't need 5 threads to count to 10 in this example. So instead, we can just change it, and we'll just say a new single thread executor. Okay, so this should be enough for this example. Next, we'll just say service, the one declared above, and then we'll say execute. And this will be a new runnable. And if we select from here, from Java language, runnable, the rest of the code is generated automatically, and we have this run method. Don't forget to put here at the end the semicolon. And inside this run method, this is where the code that will be executed in the background of worker thread will be inserted. And for this, let's keep the same example as in the previous video. We have the for loop, and we say for. So we have just a simple for loop, inside which we want to sleep the thread. We say thread sleep in milliseconds. We give us before 1000 milliseconds, which means 1 second. We have this error, so we need to just surround it with a try catch. And the next step is to modify the user interface. So for this, just create a bit of space on top. And what you want to do, you want to access that text view. However, whatever you run, you want to run in the user interface. So for this, you'll say run on, and you already have this suggestion, run on user interface thread, and you just select it. This will be again a new runnable. And inside here, you can put whatever code you want to be executed that will modify the user interface. So we can just say text view status will have the set text like so, and we want to put some text here. Now, because we want something to change for every iteration, let's just say status. One moment, like so. You have status, and this will be a string variable. So let's go here above, and we'll just say string status. This will be equal to working in background, and we'll just indicate the number of the iteration. This will be integer or integer to string, and we'll give it the variable. Okay, so what we do, we have a string that will be modified every step. So it will say working in background, and step 1, step 2, step 3, and so forward. Then we take this status and we just use it to update the text in the user interface in this text view. And after that, we sleep the thread. This is already the secondary, the worker thread, for 1 second, and we repeat. With the application loaded, we can test to see how everything works. So we have the user interface, of course, working. We can start the thread. We can see the work being done in the background. We can stop it. Actually, I just realized I didn't implement the stop part, so I'll just do it right now. But in the meantime, we can start it again, and the user interface is working. Okay, let's just stop it, and I will just implement the stop part. Okay, so closing the emulator. And here on top, we can just say if stop task, if this one is true, then we can just say return. And that's all we need to do. We save it. Let me just show you the code once again before I run it. So you have the classes imported, you have the variables, then you have the onCreate with the text view being associated with the view object from the user interface. You can have this in different methods, because when you update it, you always work on the user interface thread. Then you have the button. This is the method associated with the test UI, incrementing the counter and displaying on the button, so modifying the text in the button. Then you have the start thread method, and this is where you have the Boolean variable being changed to false. Then you have the executor service Then you have the run method with the code that simulates the background task. You have this part over here with the run on user interface thread where you modify the user interface. And then you have the part where you sleep the thread, the background thread, for a bit of time. And in the end, the stop thread button with just modifying this Boolean variable. Okay, let's see how it works now. We can start the thread and we can stop it. See, not counting anymore. We can restart it. We can interact with the user interface. We can stop it. Okay, so this is, in my belief, an easier way to work with threads, to work with background tasks. Of course, the usual implementation will be to download some image from the internet or to perform some positioning or playing some music, loading some images, processing some video, whatever it is that you need in the background. And for now, you just saw the simplest way to do it. If you need any help, if you need more explanations, you can check the previous videos about this app. If not, I believe this is the most straightforward, the easiest way to work with background tasks. So until we meet again in the next video, take care, keep practicing, and keep learning.